You're watching the Tesla Life live with your host, Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Live number 393. Here we are on the 8th of January, 2025. And thank you so much for joining us today. If you're in the chat room, say hello, let us know. And with me, as normal, we have Mr. Case Green joining us from the Mid-Atlantic. How are you today, sir?
Hello, Happy New Year. I'm doing all right. Kind of warm. Dry.
That's
Two
good.
good things in the middle of winter.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. My X account is headed the right direction, almost to 5 million. I've got
Awesome.
4 million more to go. Actually, 4.8 million to go.
You're about halfway there.
But no, I said that wrong. Yeah. No, 3.8 million to go. There we go.
Okay. All right. With us as well, Miss Patrick Connor from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
Hello, I'm good. Although I don't have 1 million plus followers on X, so I've got.
Loads, page loads.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, my statement is still true. I don't have 1 million plus followers.
I was like 1 million followers, but
Yeah,
one milestone at a time.
Right.
Yeah, so if you haven't already, follow Casey. His handle's right up there in the red box, so no problem finding it. And join Patrick as well. And
That's right.
Of course the Tesla Life if you haven't already, but I'm sure you're already there. But let's go on to the news. We've got a bunch of news, and Patrick's going to start us off with the results of 2024 and Q4.
Hold on. I got something for that.
Oh, all right. What?
I thought there was a drum roll. They had two drums, but they just have the.
Well, so we'll certainly find out a whole lot more when Tesla has their quarterly financial call later this month. I think it's the 29th. But they do have their numbers out, and it's not exactly what I wanted to see. So Tesla posts record Q4 deliveries. That's great. But their annual sales declined 1%. Q4 is usually a strong quarter, and it's lower than Q3. So it was not the 500,000 that I expected, and some of the other more optimistic analysts like our buddy Brian, I think he was 520 or something. So anyway, it came in at 437,000 production. And that's just, not that. So they've been on the verge of getting to 2 million. And I thought the year before they were going to get there and they missed it. And then I thought last year they had a chance. And then, this year for sure. But then the first half of the year, interest rates were just killing their sales. So they kind of finally figured out how to work around some of that at the end of the year. But by then it was too late to make the 2 million mark. So for the year, they're just under 1.8 million in production. And so if that's what you guessed, good for you. My lowest estimate was still 2 million, and I had some that were significantly higher than that. But
way out of the park.
Yeah, I was too.
I have a prediction on last year. What I think we'll see, because they kind of slacked at the end rather than continue to push hard.
Mm-hmm.
So what I suspect that we're going to see is that they already made their numbers for money, and I have a risk of the Osborne effect with the Model Y. But
interesting.
But at the same time, they also did start back up production of the outgoing Model Y. So
right. So if they have an outgoing vehicle, especially a high volume one, you don't want to end up with a lot of them sitting on lots that have now been. When the new one's out, then you're going to have to discount the old ones to move them. So that is a tricky thing to handle. And if they're planning on the is it Juniper? What is the new Model Y? Yeah. So handling that transition is definitely tricky, and might be one of the reasons that we see production so much lower than deliveries. If
Right.
they're clearing out this backlog so that they don't have a lot in the pipeline when the new one comes out, that would make sense.
The I'm wondering now, even though they restarted the outgoing model, I wonder if this is like the most popular one or the cheapest one or something that will make it so that way if they can any bumpiness on this ramp on the new one, they can just be like, hey, here's this one if you don't want to wait for us to get the other one in stock. Or
Right. Yeah, they're building enough to deliver to immediate orders, but they're not building up a backlog, which is what they apparently had. If you can sell 40,000 more cars than you built, you obviously had some of them sitting around somewhere, and now that extra amount is worked through the system. They can actually just build what they need to sell without having so many. So yeah, you might have nailed it there, Casey.
I hope so.
Yeah, and then of course we have to talk about energy storage. They surged in Q4, 11 gigawatt hours in Q4 alone. So that totals the year at 31.4 gigawatt hours. And you know me, future free from fossil fuels all the time is what I'm talking about. And you need to have batteries, grid level batteries, to do renewable energy in a way that works well with our existing system. And that's what these battery packs supply, is the ability to do that. Whether they're power walls on your house or a grid scale, it's all helpful. And so this is the start of a new year. I switched my service provider for electricity, stopped the old program that I was on. So now I'm on a new one called Time of Day. The one I was on before was called Time of Use. And there's a few differences, but the power walls had to when I changed programs, I just said, oh, here's my provider, here's the program, done. And then it started doing stuff I didn't want it to do. It started discharging the batteries during peak hours, even though I don't actually get paid for that. It's just net metering. So their math thinks I'm getting paid for it. And so I had to go in and there's a lot of ways you could change that. You could just tell it not to export anything. You could have it set to just export solar, or you can change the prices. And even though the price, like I said, it's not a real price, it's a net metering price. So all I did was lower all the sale prices, and now it can still export if it needs to. And it's not doing it just because it thinks it's making me money. So anyway, there's something, if you have a power wall, some a tip you can play with to make it behave the way you want to, given your situation.
Have you looked at like setting up a home assistant server in your house and controlling it that way?
I actually use an app called NetZero, and they have automated systems that you can do that kind of stuff with. And under the old program, I actually used it quite a bit. I had a couple weekly jobs because the weekends were not all counted the same. Saturday was different from Sunday, I should say. But the way the Tesla app works is they have a weekend rate, and you can't tell it Saturday is different from Sunday. Whereas with the new program I'm on, Saturday and Sunday are the same. They're both all off peak all day, which is fine. But by using the NetZero automations, I was able to make it do what I wanted to by changing the reservation settings. And that way I didn't have to change any of the pricing. And it all happened automatically every Saturday night at like midnight. It was, I don't know if you guys have seen that app. If you have Tesla Solar or Powerwalls, you should definitely check out the NetZero app. The developer is really cool. I've emailed them a couple times, a feature request and a couple bugs, and they've been fixed right away, implemented right away. So it's pretty cool.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. And of course, I guess this energy side of business has exploded in this quarter. But the other thing of note is that, of course, the Megapack factory has opened in Shanghai, and it's starting its run. So guess what? If you thought this quarter was high, I can imagine it's going to jump again during 2025.
Yeah. Nice. Yes.
It's be 10,000 shy of double.
So that's something to keep an eye on as time goes along. Well, another thing that we will talk about, excuse me, is Derek's asking who won your poll.
Yes.
And of course, at the beginning or the end of every year, we look at the production numbers and compare them to guesses that we did the previous year or at the beginning of the year. And we'll do that again this year. So all of you out there can start thinking about what your production number will be for Tesla for the end of 2025. But in our poll, man, we all overshot the mark by a mile. So as Patrick mentioned, the number was actually 1.784 million in that area. And I was at 2.61. I was Mr. Optimist and missed it by a mile. We got Casey with a 2.3. We've got Patrick with a 2.2222.
$1, Bob.
We've got TJ24 at 2.4. We get Dana P at 2.4 as well. We've got David W. His guess was 2.32. And we've got Basem came in at a 2.45. So we all overshot by a mile. Now, the one that was closest and still went over was, of course, our friend Paul Gusak, who came in with a 2.1342.
Oh.
So Paul is the big winner.
Again.
No.
Wow.
No.
That's twice he's got it, right?
No, Russell got it the time before and Paul got it the year before. So yes.
Okay.
Over the past 4 years, Paul has nailed it twice. Nice. So 50%. Wow. So yeah, that's very interesting.
Oh wait, what was Hockey Day's guess?
I don't have it. I do not have Hockey Day's
Tell
guess.
us Hockey Day. Type it in there. What did you guess?
Yeah, let us know.
And if you pay one, if you say 1.784 million, I don't think I'm gonna
call you out. I'm gonna call you out.
We're gonna have to go to the tape on that one.
But everyone in the chat room, start thinking about your guess for next year, and we will log them in the spreadsheet and keep track of it. So,
well, I'm going to put mine out there again. I'm going to do 2.3 to 2.5. You're going to name it to it.
No, you can't do ranges.
Yeah, no ranges.
You can only pick a number
in this game.
I acknowledge that.
There we go. We got Brian.
Brian's come in early with a 2.05. So there we go.
It's 2025, so I guess mine should be 2.025.
Oh, there you go. So the other thing we learned here is you got to hit save and hit save often. Sorry there, Hockey Day.
Oh, man.
Hockey Day's given a range. 1 to a billion-y.
Wow.
So I'm just entering in Brian's right now.
Yep. And we'll collect these live on air for 2 weeks
next year
and next week, and then after that, you need to make sure you just get it to us and that we acknowledge it. Oh, thank you, baby. I got a plastic pizza.
Nice.
2.05. Brian, you are locked in with that
Hockey
number.
Day says 1.9. Is that 2024 or 2025? I don't know which. Oh, Derek's going
Derek
big.
at 3.1.
Yeah.
Okay, are you serious, Derek? Are you really serious? You're going with 3.1?
I hope Derek's right.
That would be cool.
I'm not sure where the new factory is that Derek knows about, nobody else, but I love it.
I will also say that whatever they guided for on megapacks is what they'll do for megapacks.
Yeah, that one's hard because megapacks are so lumpy. You can have one quarter that's like double the previous just because of when the shipments go out.
Yeah. So will that be 40 from each of the big factories and 10 from Cato? But put in the note next to it that whatever they guided for today or on the call, that's what I'm sticking with.
And we'll put in Hockey Days to make sure that we've got the 1.9.
Hold up, Volcano.
That's where the new factory is.
Oh, yes, that's right. Semi counts in this too because it's other models.
Yes.
And if they start Optimus, that's going to change my stuff up.
So yeah, if they start Optimus, I don't know if
we can use it in somebody's count if it makes them get closer to win, and then
Right.
otherwise we'll take a fresh count for Optimus when they start.
Yeah, there you go.
Be
because we're certainly megapacks and power walls count, but we're not for revenue, but we're not putting them in this game of how many vehicles did they deliver.
I just did.
So
no, not mixed in with the vehicles. Just a separate, just over here. We're gonna talk about
JT, formulate your guess. You just joined the chat room.
Yes.
Paul Gusek is the winner this year. And
this is just FSD for the OG roaster. That's true.
Exactly. So, well, let's move on to some other stuff. Mr. Supercharger, of course, probably knows this story well. Oh. That Tesla had their network grow at record pace. Yes. The Supercharger network in Q4.
It did.
And Casey, any surprise there?
No. Not at all. The surprise for me was the Supercharger V4 cabinet. I expected it to be good. I didn't expect it to be what they promised us. And now I'm excited for one to hit the ground and super confused because nobody knows what they're looking at. They're like, I found a V4, and then you look at it, it's a V3 Plus with a V4 front end. They're like, how do I explain this?
Yeah, there's a lot. Those cabinets are starting to be prevalent now. So it's looking like maybe Gigafactory Buffalo has maybe slowed down or stopped on the V3 cabinets.
Oh yeah, on the V3, yeah. And then they've also started to transition to NACS only pedestals. So you'll see V4s and maybe repair V3s that do not have the Magic Dock. And that just goes to reflect what's happening in the industry. They are now the charging standard, and that saves very real money per stall. When you look at what Ford and all the others are charging, and when you look at Tesla's profit margin, they're charging what, $240 they said at GM, and we do $240, or minus, let's call it 30%. If Tesla kept up with their markup, that's $168 per stall savings. And when we look at what they did, they added 3,600 new stalls globally. So 3,600 times $168. and I imagine the ones in the stations are a little more expensive because they're going to be more robust. So they got to have the locking mechanism and all of that. And so for 2024, 3,600 new stalls. And we saw the partners talking about, we're going to have 12,000, access to 12,000, access to 13, 14, 15, 17, 20,000 extra stalls on top of the third-party networks that they already had access to. They delivered 1.4 terawatt hours of electricity, and that was just in Q4. That is incredible. So they had a 24% year-over-year increase in energy deployed, and that saved 620 million liters of gasoline, or 1.4 billion kilograms of CO2. And so let's see, that's the same as adding 40 super stalls per day, every day last year.
Wow.
They had a large size site open up every day of the year, basically.
Yeah, it's definitely superchargers are one of their big strengths. And the main reason that I don't want to have any non-Tesla EV, having gone through that hell with CHAdeMO in the Leaf, it sucked. And there's a single station there, and it's half the time blocked or broken. And this is awesome to hear how fast Tesla is expanding their network, even in a year when was it this year, or was it 2024 where they had a large part of that team fired and then rehired? Yeah. Yep. So even going through that, they still had a record amount of a huge amount of installations. And when other companies, that's all that they do, and yet Tesla outpaces them, it really makes you wonder how the other companies even staying in business.
And I like that the new lead is so open on X, so you can actually get some visibility into both the technicals and just what's happening on there, which is good to see. I'm also still surprised at some of the partners that have joined the Supercharger Coalition are launching major new product lines with CCS1 still on them.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll come with the free adapter, but it's a brand new car that's not on sale yet. Why not just put the right port on it and then ship it out the door?
I totally agree. It makes no sense to me why
Because
they would do that.
they probably buy parts in advance
Maybe
of the launch, and they've done engineering already 2 years ago, and it would require them to make changes that they don't want to and already have the stock. So
they move slowly,
or commitments to buy the stock, and they are going to have to do it anyway. So
yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, their design work happened 3 years ago plus, and they don't want them, and they're not agile.
That part. But it's easy enough to get the suppliers at their size. Any of them can bully the suppliers. Say, these are NACs now. If you haven't made it yet, don't make it. Make a NACs, and we'll take the rest, and let's do a slipstream or something. I will get it for other companies like Lightship and Pebble, because they don't have that kind of buying power yet. And these are RV makers basically. They make travel trailers with batteries, and they make sense. But Aptera's got them beat in that they had it in the plans, but I think they might hit the road before Aptera, unfortunately.
Yeah. JT, we got your 1.5 for next year.
JT's going to make sure that Paul Guzik is not the low baller and wins. Thank you, JT.
Very good, very good. So next, I want to talk a little bit about the NHTSA.
Yes.
They're doing a little bit of investigation, Casey. And what are they investigating?
They're investigating whether or why Tesla didn't tell them about any crashes with the ADAS on public roads while using the Smart Summon, or actually Smart Summon, except that they don't operate in those places. So there's no
exactly
to report.
So they're taking a formal investigation about the actual Smart Summon feature, and they're looking at instances that they've logged or it's been logged to them about issues with that particular software upgrade.
Running into poles, running into other cars, this, that, and the other. I told Marianne Miller today, I told her I think what it is we had a couple people who were embarrassed that they did this, allowed the car to glide into something it should not have. Or the one guy we saw that did immediately when ASS came out, immediately ran into a pole. I don't know if he had ASS or not. I think that they're embarrassed that they allowed the car to roll into something, and then they tried to get Tesla to pick up the tab. Tesla said go GFY, and and then they got mad, and then they submitted it as a retaliatory. Here's the thing, somebody explained as an analogy. They said, I went to the ER one day, and there was this line of people with bloody bandages on their hands, and the first guy told the news what happened, and she said, I would never tell anybody I stuck my fingers in a wood chipper. and that was her analogy, that this is what these folks were doing. Not Marianne, but this other person. And it does look that way. Because
here
remember I was doing those videos about the little bitty advancements in Smart Summon when it came out. It would not activate in my driveway at the townhouse because it was too close to a public road. They're like, nah. Go ahead.
Right. So here in this article, it says the investigation was prompted by a single official complaint submitted through a vehicle owner questionnaire.
Oh, I heard there were 4, but yeah, single will do it too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then to say, as well as at least 3 additional media reported incidents.
Oh, they might have all 3 of the same one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. The media just copies and pastes.
Yeah. So this is kind of like the Elon's a pay package. One single person complained, and now the government gets involved. And yet, if there's something with actual consumer fraud and people losing thousands, good luck getting the government to pay attention to you.
Oh, I did a check the other day from the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. Unsolicited, didn't know it was going to happen. Apparently, I had got services from a company that turned into scams, and they gave me $200 back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hopefully they stick around.
So this is kind of interesting, as Casey and Patrick has mentioned. It's a low response to the NHTSA. They're not getting that many complaints, but again, is this how they operate all the time? Like they do operate on complaints. They do receive updates from the public. They're supposed to be, and in this case, it's showing media as well.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they are investigating this particular update to the Smart Summon, it'll be interesting to see if what results come of it. What are they going to want the system to change to based on their investigation?
I suspect what we might see, I don't think they'll result in any fines, but I think what we might see is they look into it, they ask Tesla, they look at the app, they get the data, because I'm sure Tesla saved the data once they heard that there was a complaint, and then they say, oh, this is nothing, stop filing false complaints. Pay attention to your surroundings, just like it says in the app.
And that does happen. A lot of these investigations, this is a preliminary investigation. It might not even, that might be the end of it. They might say, oh, this was not on public roads. We don't have jurisdiction. Close the case. They're done. And nothing becomes of it. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. So I have used this a couple times. And if it's doing something you don't like, at least the way I have it set up, you have to be holding the button. And so you just let go and it stops quickly. In fact, I've had it stop sometimes because it's lost signal, and so it doesn't know if I'm holding the button.
Or if you put it in your face, or cover the camera thing, the proximity sensor,
Right, and you're supposed to be watching it this whole time because it's not a fully autonomous system, so you are responsible for it. So I don't see how anybody has any leg to stand on. If something goes wrong, it's their responsibility. Tesla hasn't assumed liability for it, or they're not covering it with their insurance. You are covering with yours, and you're the one that decides, yes, I want to do it now. So you have to look at the environment and decide whether or not the parking lot's too busy to even consider it. So this case, I'm hoping it's quickly because it seems frivolous. Although I do want to mention one thing. I just saw something. Somebody was having a problem. It would not park in their garage because stuff was too close.
Yes.
And so they took some duct tape and made it look like parking lines.
Yes.
And then the car could guide itself with those lines and it would go right into their garage. And I'm thinking that is such a great idea. Yeah. I'm thinking about doing it just because there's this cabinet on the left side that's kind of tight. And if I have those lines, well, then it'll show on the display whether or not I'm in the lines. Oh. And they'll give me an extra visual check to make sure I'm not going to bump that cabinet.
So the duct tape to be white or yellow?
White or yellow?
In the picture that I saw, it was white.
Yeah. Okay. Avoid blue if you can. Yeah. It's going to think that there's a disabled spot and try to avoid it.
Right. So yeah, white or yellow sounds like what it would detect the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give that a shot.
You'll have to send us a photo and let us know how that works for you, Patrick.
Yeah.
There's a chance they could come back and do something like they did with the rolling stops and say, hey, it's all right, but you gotta make a complete stop to 0. And so with this one, they might say, hey, you need this double check to make sure it really is not a public road or whatever. In addition to or maybe change the words for the don't use this on public roads that's at the top. With actually Smart Summon, it got better. You now have at this point, since Legacy doesn't get it, you do have a video feed of what's coming from the car, so you can see what's happening. And they also updated the logic. It still seems to drive the same way, but they updated the path planning logic, so it's not like when mine tried to cream that insurance agent's Model Y.
Glad they fixed that bug.
Yeah, it's just a remote control car at this point. So you're still the driver. Tesla won't accept liability, so it's not a level 4 yet, or level 3 even. We got into these long knockdown drag hours last week about how it's not even level 3. We talked about how Honda and Mercedes claim level 3. I found out Mercedes only has 1 camera on theirs, but it's so limited. You have to be under 40 miles an hour, somebody to follow, busy traffic, not raining, not nighttime. Tesla could do this if they wanted to. With the current technology, it's just update the thing. But they'd have to accept liability, and they have to give you some sort of transition period. You get 30 seconds to a minute from them beeping to you having, I have the gun, go ahead. And right now, they just kind of, it's typically a hot potato, but I've had it last up to a minute with the red hands there, where I'm holding it, but I'm not taking it out. And other times, I grab the wheel and it's gone. I was like, oh.
Right. And it all depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to get to fully autonomous, then you don't care about, oh, we made level 3, or we could qualify for it under these circumstances and it would give us some marketing bullet. No, forget about that. You know the goal. Anything, any interim markers, if you stop to try to accomplish those, you're taking your eye off the actual end goal. So they're not even trying to say, oh, yeah, we can do level 3 on certain days if it's not raining or it's not night or whatever. I mean, forget that. You want it to be a system that drives better than human as soon as possible.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think that it would be a waste of their because it exposes them right at that point. It would be a waste of their money, a waste of their time to pursue that when they can just tell you to look out the window. Because on the level, on the non-legacy cars, you don't even have to touch the wheel anymore. You just have to be paying attention and not asleep. And 13.2, I think it would be Patrick that's got the new stuff. I am still waiting on 12.6.
Right. I am on 13.2. I don't remember which version of it. I've got a couple of them.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't have FSD, so that's not going to happen for me, Derek.
He gets one of those in the free trial of 2.5.
I've got the 2.5 hardware, so I am not getting 13.2 in Canada yet. But I have driven with others that have had it, so it's certainly here. But
on your Model 3, Patrick, when you took it, did they switch it down to basic autopilot, or did they switch it off when you moved it?
Basic autopilot.
Oh, okay. So so you will get some of the updates to try out, like the free trials on yours.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I do get the free trials on the Model 3, and our Model Y has the full FSD. Yep. Full. I just ATM machine. Sorry,
this one
it does have
supervised.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Next, wanted to touch upon a story from the Tesla Roddy that was talking about the semi being spotted, and of course this is our friend Zengler, who has got the eyes in the sky above the Tesla semi plant, and he caught a semi out there with the with a tandem trailer, which is a first thing that no one else has come up with yet or seen. Let me just share this. Here we go. Tandem van trailer, out testing with a couple of them.
Yes.
Wow.
And a friend. And they're different, actually. You've got a high roof and low roof fairings on the front of the cab.
And they're at a stop. And they have a obviously Tesla is a full testing program in effect for the semi, and they continue to do this. So they're using different trailers all the time. They're using different loads. They are using it obviously for stocking between Fremont factory and the Nevada factory, and they are running separate road runs that aren't related to Tesla business at all. So they are out there testing because, of course, they know they've got new clients that are lining up that are going to be driving these type of vehicles, and they're going to be using these type of trailers in the future. So they're trying to get a handle on where it's going based on the catalog of purchases they already have and will be deploying to new customers in the coming quarters, because of course, as that semi factory gets built and starts to roll out, we're going to have a serious amount of semis on our hands, and of course, they're going to be releasing them to a new book of customers that are awaiting these trucks as well.
Yep. Hockey Day pointed out you got PepsiCo's going to want them, UPS, FedEx is going to want them. Sometimes the folks like Amazon and Walmart, but not always. Depends on the state of the distribution center. And our friend Carson Knight tells us that that it's not necessarily going to be used for long range because they consume so much more fuel than the singles. And fuel is already a concern on an EV, so you don't necessarily want to go down from 500 to some random number unless you're going to be charging it regularly.
Right. So, which is nice that Tesla's doing these tests, and that way they can have the data. If a customer says, "Hey, we're thinking about doing a tandem trailer," well, now they can say, "Here's what you can expect for range."
With duals and singles.
Exactly.
Super singles. Yep.
Yeah.
Derek asked what version he might get if he upgrades to FSD for $1,000. I'm assuming that's from FSD hardware 2.5 to current. They'll put you on hardware 3 and whatever update your car qualifies for on that. So probably 12.6 at some point soon. And then if and when we get our upgrade to something newer than hardware 3, since you'll have paid full price at that point, they will then re-upgrade you for free. And assuming that you're paying full price and not paying the $1,000 and then subscribing. If you pay the $1,000 and then subscribe, they might charge you for another upgrade. And and then from there, you're good to go. If you need new cameras, which you should not, I'm assuming it's a Model 3. There were a couple of Model S's and X's that got new cameras, but most of them stuck with the cameras they got. And this will be fun.
Yeah, I should go grab my phone and see what version is on R3 because we did the computer upgrade on it, and it's a 2018. So I don't know what year Derek's is.
I would suspect you're probably on the same one as me, unless they started the push, because we have Intel chips, and the Intel chip is for some reason lagging behind the Ryzen chip, despite us all three having the same board and cameras. So I am sitting on FSD version 12.5.4.2 and software 2024.44.25.2.
So yeah, that's probably what you would get if you did it today, Derek, to 12.5.2.
Yeah, and then you might get before me, you might get 12.6 because your screen is going the right way.
So Derek in the chat, are you saying you're revising your guess to 2.5?
That was hardware 2.5, I think. I like it though. Yep.
Because he was at 3.1 earlier.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Next, got another photo or a little video. Casey, just mind the music if there happens to be any music.
Yeah.
Not sure.
The other one I caught right in the middle. And I was like, music.
Here's music.
All right, it's off.
You got the music?
Music's off.
All right. So this, of course, is our friend Joe Tegmeyer
on the main screen,
catching a group of CyberTrucks leaving the new CyberTruck tunnel at
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. For those of you that play real-time strategy, you know what I'm talking about.
So this was the 8th of January as they were leaving and pulling out,
awesome.
And now it's in full use. You also see that on the side. They're starting to put the side sheeting on the mock CyberTruck tunnel head.
So that's from the factory floor outlet to across the street at the boarding lot.
Look at this guy filming, walking just in front of him.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. So this isn't going to be just for CyberTrucks, right? I mean,
actually, somebody said Model Y can use this, right? And then they made the Star Wars meme with the princess, and the CyberTruck account said, "Does it look like a Model Y on top of that tunnel?" and that was why my question was the way it was, because it's if it comes directly off the end of the CyberTruck line, then it would be a little difficult to insert Model Ys into it. But
they'll have to get their own tunnel.
There is talk though that the factory's rearranging a little bit, that there might be another tunnel being built for Model Y.
I wonder if they do like a Y in, make a Y of the tunnel, and then just use the outlet for both of them.
So have an intersection.
Yeah. It's interesting that depending on how well this works, there may be some other tunnels in the future because, of course, Gigafactory Texas is quite a large factory, and having a couple of other tunnels just for Y and maybe as time goes along, maybe two Ys. Like it really depends on volume that's rolling out. But I could definitely see that they might do a Y line as well, just because it's going to be in a different part of the factory. It's going to be lined up differently, and the Ys are currently going around anyway. So it just makes sense that they would consider that if it makes sense financially.
A little shortcut, save some time, save some miles on the car, the risk of them interacting with anything, and so you could have Model Y and Model Next.
Yeah.
It makes sense that they should have done Model Y first. I mean, the volumes are so much higher than CyberTruck. Why would CyberTruck be the priority? Other than the fact that it gets more media attention, or I don't know why. Yeah.
And speaking of CyberTruck, let's talk about the other big story of the week. Is that at the very beginning, there was a beginning of this week, CyberTruck was announced that it's going to be getting the federal U.S. tax credit of $7,500.
Yep, the IRS posted it for the dual motor and the rear wheel drive for stickers under $80,000. And they do not consider FSD to be part of an option or spec up or anything that would cost you the credit. However, everything else qualifies. So if you get the wheels change or color change or the seat interior change, you're done. Unless I guess that might work better on the rear wheel drive because it is supposed to be priced further away from the 80, but we'll see.
And then, of course, the other thing is that with the new administration taking office on the 20th of January, a lot of things are up in the air. We've heard rumblings that it's going to be axed, the tax credit. We've heard possibilities it won't. But if you're sitting on the fence and thinking about pulling the trigger, man, I'd get in line now because we really don't know what's going to happen after January the 20th as it relates to that EV U.S. federal tax credit.
Now, on paper, by law and regulation, the way it should work is since this was in place at the start of the year and it was fully confirmed before the new Congress sat down, then this should be good until the end of the tax year. So it should not be touched until 2026 tax year. However, what could happen is they could suspend it so that way if you weren't already logged with it, that you don't get it, or this guy is really good at finding a way to pull money back that's already spent. I don't know. So that is a possibility. But the good thing is the way the program is structured at this point in time is it's at the point of sale. So at your dealership, store, point of purchase, you can get the money and you don't have to worry about it. But as it stands right now, while the Cybertruck does qualify, it looks like Tesla does not for the Cybertruck. So as you go to make your order, before the show anyway, this morning when I checked it, you got to make your order and it will charge you the full price, and then you'll have to file at the end of the year, next year, for April 15th next year.
Oh, so it's not at the point of purchase.
It's eligible for it, but apparently Tesla isn't. So I guess
they just haven't made the update yet.
I think what happens is once the vehicle qualifies, then the dealerships all file, and so they couldn't until the government opened back up after New Year to process their paperwork to qualify for that.
So we'll have to keep an eye on this this week, because if it's just a paper filing thing for the new year, you got to believe that something should happen this week. Otherwise,
the other rumor is that somehow the battery doesn't qualify, but that doesn't make sense because all the other cars where the battery didn't qualify, they didn't get approved. So
right, I agree with that. It wouldn't have been on the approved list if that was an issue.
Right. Or they'd say, hey, not models with the Chinese battery, or not. It's an American battery, not models rear-wheel drive at this trim level. The other hack, cheat, shortcut to this is if you lease the vehicle, you can qualify for all of it right now. And if you are buying it for business, the business 7500 program is already active, just not the end user consumer. Give me my money, give me my truck. That's not on yet. So.
So keep your eye on that. If you're in the market or we're thinking about pulling the trigger, that is something that there are a number of balls in the air, and we're really not sure what's going to happen. But
yep, it's our show motto.
Yeah,
if you see something that works for you, you like it, get it while because things
good.
Might be different tomorrow. I think the tax credit, it's unlikely the tax credit will change this year, but unlikely doesn't mean zero chance. It takes Congress, and it's not a day one agenda item, so it wouldn't be until June or July that Congress could even do anything about it, and then it would take effect in 2026. So it's probably fine, but again, probably doesn't mean necessarily definitely.
Right, because they could leave it on and they could not pause it, and they could just take the money out of the program and put it somewhere else, and that would also
right. Yeah. Not
saying that it's legal or easy, just throwing it out there.
Shenanigans have happened in Washington, D.C. I've never heard of this.
Exactly.
We saw that in Maryland and New Jersey. Not the shenanigans, but Maryland, New Jersey, and I think was it Colorado and Oregon. Your state had it too.
Yes, we ran out of funding for our EV incentive.
And all of those places, it wasn't misdeeds. It was just literally the program was so popular that they didn't have enough money in the kitty to make it happen.
Right.
Yeah. Well, with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up this week. Let's move to shout-outs. Patrick, what do you got for us?
As always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And I just noticed that Mark's headphone cable goes all the way from Canada right here. And I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net, where I write about a future free from fossil fuels.
That's right, baby.
Very good. Very good. Casey.
Well, coming up on Friday, you've got the Tesla Life Express Edition 1. And then on Sunday, over here at youtube.com/Casey Green, you can catch us for Let's Chat with Casey Green and Friends. And we'll see who shows up. Sometimes some folks stop through. Sometimes some folks stay for the whole show. And we have ourselves a blast. It's like this, but just more expanded as far as what we'll touch on. Not as focused, I should say. And then on Monday, we've got the Tesla Life Express Edition 2. Our provider here for video services had a little blip. So while we did record Edition 2 last week, it got ate by the machine. So
the dog ate my homework.
No, we did it. We did it.
We did it, really.
Dana saw that there was something there, but he was not able to see or hear anything. So
weird.
So thank you for Dana for pointing that out, so that we didn't waste everybody else's time, and for being a good sport about it as well. And the provider says they will try better, and they were aware, and hopefully this one happens better next time. So,
and if you're watching this show now and would like to enter your guess for production numbers for 2025, just put it in the comments.
Yes.
And in the next couple of days, I'll go through the comments and mark it down to the spreadsheet that we've already got started. So do that and be part of the fun for next year. So also like to ask, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up on the video. Press the subscribe button. Helps us out immensely. Would really appreciate you doing so. And with that, I think we will wrap it, and we will get together next time and find out what's happening in the Tesla life.
Stay positive
and
test negative.
If you don't get it in the next week or two in this show's comments or next show's comments, then go ahead and just either get it over to the Tesla Life on Facebook or on X, and we'll get you down there.
But time will run out, so do not delay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You don't want to end up not that was Hockey Day's fault, but you don't want to end up like Hockey Day next year, where you're not on the list. And we're sorry, Hockey Day. Somehow it just didn't save. And yes, indeed. Thank you, the moon. Oh, it started over. Normally it's like in the middle. Catch y'all later.